8th, 2017.
I have to go to a meeting, so. Glad to know mine's not the only one. September's in a different email still. Sometimes I really worry that I just do everything backwards.
No, anybody see anything in here?
I did not. I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from November 21st, 2017 and November 28th, 2017.
Second.
Discussion? Brenda?
Commissioner Nestle?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Stanford?
Aye.
Mayor Souza?
Aye. Discussion and review of appropriation ordinance P1201-17. Public forum, DJ Newberger.
DJ, you'll have to turn the mic on. Listen.
Okay. Originally, I was just going to talk about the hospital and who owns it. But with the special, excuse me, not special meeting, work session that came up, when I mentioned that we couldn't hear somebody, I believe even a work session falls under COMA, Kansas Open Meeting Act, and it appeared that the three of you, Kat, Michelle, Dave, were having a sidebar conversation that the rest of the meeting could not hear. That's not within the prerogative of COMA. I'm quite sure.
Okay, Michelle was mumbling to herself.
And
I
Pat
asked
repeated
Dave
her
a
question.
question. That,
And-
there was no conversation.
If you have
That
concerns.
there may not have been, but there is the perception of.
Okay,
Well, DJ,
I'm
if you have concerns, you
telling
can
you
call
currently
Topeka.
that your
on that.
perception was incorrect, that she was mumbling to herself. I asked Dave a question, one question, that just consisted of the words, would Dave know that? And that was it. And I repeated the same for you because you could not hear. So this is a
Okay.
non-issue.
Okay. Enough said on that, I believe. Okay, I understand we're back into the, nobody knows who owns the hospital. I wasn't at the special meeting, but I believe you brought it up, Kat, that it was determined back in 2012, 2013, that the city owned the hospital. Okay. At that time, the city commission was informed by the city attorney that the city could not loan money to itself to the tune of over $400,000. Okay, so if it comes up that the hospital is separate and not part of the city and is not owned by the city, I would like the commission to take action to either go back and see about reinstating that $400,000+ debt that the hospital had, and or make the city attorney responsible because he gave the commission the bad information, and pursue getting the $400,000 from the city attorney. That's all I've got for the public forum. Thank you.
Any agenda additions?
I'd like to add item 12A, discussion of non-billed utilities.
What number was that, Dave?
12A.
Anybody else?
I emailed Brenda my addition.
I make a motion we approve the agenda with the addition of item 12A, discussion of non-billed utilities.
Second.
Discussion? Brenda?
Commissioner Nestle?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Stanford?
Aye.
Mayor Souza?
Aye.
Whoops, wrong email.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. I was thinking we were at,
Not that one.
yeah, I wasn't thinking zoning, I was thinking the mini mall.
That's where I went to, and I was like, oh, that's not where I need to be.
All right.
So I can go back to this email.
So I'll go ahead and open this public hearing regarding the rezoning of 101 East Main from R3 to B4.
You want to explain what
Yes,
R3 and
that-
B4 are?
that is, R3 is general residential, and B4 is general commercial. The recommendation has been made by the Herington Planning Commission to consider a property rezoning for 101 East Main Street, and I'm just reading this off the notice. The property is currently zoned R3, general residential, and the applicant requests a zoning change to B4, general commercial. The property is legally described as Town of Herington, Block 27, lots 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, Section 12, Township 16, and Range 4.
This would be where the Rock Island Church was, correct? Okay. So it was at one point in the business section anyway, it was own business, because it used to be a grocery
I
store.
don't think it ever was.
Oh.
I think, because we implemented the zoning ordinance later.
Okay.
And it just got,
Shoved it aside and,
put
yeah,
in there as residential, so.
boundary line on the wrong street.
Is there anyone with any questions, comments? Lottery numbers?
Winning lottery numbers, that's for the right thing.
Do I have to accept this one?
Now, do we close the hearing before we do any motions? I'm asking because of the way it's listed on here.
Yeah. If there are any comments from the commission, I do it during the open hearing.
Can I go ahead and close this public
Yes.
hearing?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 1796, changing the zoning map of the city of Herington, 101 East Main from R3 residential to B4 general business.
Second.
Discussion? Brenda?
Commissioner Heisler?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Cantor?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye. Number 7, consider approval of the Dickinson County EDC Partnership Agreement.
I'm sorry, I don't remember what the figures were that you gave us before, Ed. You're
1,000, 1,000, and then maybe more in year 2 if we have it. If not, 1,000, 1,000, 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. Those $6,000 marks will be during a new budget cycle that we haven't even forecast yet for that budget. That'll be for 2019, 20, and 21. And then we pay 1,017,
1,017, 1,018, and then 6,000 in 19, 20, 21, 22.
9, 20, 20. 5 years total,
19, 20,
for a total of 20,000.
Total is 20,000.
And Dickinson County EDC, they have no problem with that rate schedule. In fact, I believe you folks got a letter to that effect. Yeah.
Well, I guess, it kind of works to our advantage because we've got 2 years to see if this is going to do anything before we really put any serious money into it.
So I've got to get out of it. Isn't like that.
It's possible without.
There's no right to share.
asking, is it possible to get out of it and not look like a
Obviously,
horrible town?
Obviously, I'm being facetious,
Yes.
but
It is deductible. That's in the fine print at the bottom. I was reading to hopefully see if there was anything in the fine print worth knowing.
So say in 2019, we don't think that our $2,000 has been worth it.
We have an out?
Yeah, is there no?
In my opinion, it's not, because you signed this agreement, it's for 5 years.
and I don't think that there is, I was being facetious, I'm not recommending that we don't pay our bill, but it does work to our advantage because the incentive to make Herington happy is on the back end and not front end loaded. Having gone to that meeting, I think that this is a completely different effort with this being driven by a completely different group of people, and I believe in it.
Well, and I think it would, I mean, we're talking, to me, decently large amounts of money. I can't cut a check for $6,000. But I do think, you know, we should throw our support behind it. Especially being a startup that they presented very well. They have went around and talked to various businesses here in town. They're already making more of an effort than I ever saw or heard of from previous work.
Well, and I think knowing that Myers are in on it, they're gonna make sure that, you know, it's not just Abilene seeing this. It's nice to know we have some Herington people that are really right there in it all.
Herington people and Hope people, and
Yes.
as was pointed out,
I think they've got people from almost every community
Yeah.
in this county.
and as was pointed out during that meeting, the discussion we had up there is, you know, benefit to the city is not just businesses here in the city, because if we have more businesses in the county, that increases, it affects taxes at the county level,
Yeah.
which still benefits.
Yep.
I do
I'm
have
good
2
with it.
points that not help you with your decision. On the form, it says desire to pay beginning in 2018, annual, semi-annual, and quarterly. You can set those payments up on quarterly, and if we're able to pay more as we go, fine. If not, by the last quarter, you're only gonna be talking $1,500 for the last quarter in those years. And 2, we've already been approached by Dickinson County EDC on a business that is looking at Herington, and that was the last one that I discussed.
I don't know how many times I can say I don't have any concern. I'm good with it.
You do, just for reference sake, have the ability to modify the agreement. With one parent, you really didn't know this long, so we reserve the right to annually review any modification.
Nobody can hear them too
Is
on
this
the
not
end.
Not
It's on.
close enough, yeah.
Just better move it closer.
You do have the ability, if you wish to modify this, to note that you wish to annually review your contribution. You can reserve that right if you choose. And they can choose to accept that or not. Obviously, they're going to accept your information. I'm just putting it out there.
Make a motion, we approve the Dickinson County EDC partnership agreement.
Second.
That was a little loud.
Well, that was better.
Perfect.
Discussion?
Aye.
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 I'm like afraid to talk.
Number 8, consider RMS CAD upgrade for Herington Police Department.
Read through the information you sent out, the only question I had on it is how obviously there's going to be more of an upfront cost as we're purchasing the new equipment software, but how does the maintenance fee under this contract compare to maintenance fees for a current contract?
It actually said in the email that it should be less, Tyler should be less than Global is yearly.
Right, but I don't trust a third-party vendor or the
Fair.
county to tell me the real
Fair.
deal. That's why I'm asking the city manager what the actual numbers are.
The way that it is set up is the maintenance will be for the 1205, subject to a 2% increase per year.
Right, but what are we paying for that maintenance now?
We're not.
County is paying for it.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, in the
We
paperwork,
don't start paying until December of this year.
I was gonna say, in the paperwork from November 28th that was emailed with the agenda, it says total maintenance starting in 2019 and going forward will be
Right.
$1,205.
Yes.
Moving forward, I was asking about.
Oh, before that, okay.
But as far as the maintenance part, that 1205, it does not start until 2019. It's just that when I talked to Brad Hammond today, he said that Tyler told him that there would likely be a 2% increase out there. They may not increase it 2%, but if their costs require them to recuperate, then they would increase no more than 2%.
But it says in here, you've gotten a bill from Global Software each year for your portion of the RMS system. So we're paying somebody something. It may not be called maintenance, but we're paying for Global. So I think what Dave just wants to know is what are we currently paying for Global? We have to be paying something. No?
We're not. That was the point I asked today if we were paying, and I got no response to the question. So I would have to say, like the letter leads me to believe, we haven't been paying anything. The county's been paying it all. And now that they have to go with Tyler, or they chose to go with Tyler Software, they found out it's a little bit higher than what they were prepared for, so now they're passing on the cost to
And we
the
really don't
department.
have a choice on this immediate.
Not,
We're just,
the only
we're-
thing you can do would be do away with the programming for our police department to use.
No.
Well, but it says that they
For
paid it
records.
all. Yeah, but however, the software, hardware, and maintenance for the records management system has been paid for by the agencies using it in the past. Oh, I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying somewhere there has to be money going somewhere.
And that's also concerning when you, like I said, what we're focusing on there is the third paragraph of that letter that you sent out that you received from county that says since early 2000, each of the agencies have been billed for their own record keeping. Well, if we're not paying the bill,
They were billed by Global, but the county wound up paying for all of it because the tower and dispatch is at the county.
yes, sir.
but we're saying.
But I'm having a hard time I'm reconciling the fact that the county administrator would not know that he was paying for our record keeping for the last 17 years and not point that out in the letter when his letter states that in early 2000, we all contracted with Global, and since that point in time, for record keeping, each of us have been paying our bills individually. Now, yes, the county is paying for all dispatch services, they're paying for all of that, but they're not paying for record keeping. Why would he make a point of specifically pointing that out if it wasn't the case? And if it is the case, how much is that building paying? It seems a little odd.
Only thing I can tell you is I went over these figures with him today and verified that that's what they were gonna be. I verified that in 2019, we're subject to start 1205 for maintenance costs, plus the possibility of that 2% increase.
Okay.
Now, I will talk with Russ tomorrow. Well, you haven't paid any bills for him, have you, Brenda?
No, I'll check tomorrow on all my vendors, because I don't memorize 5 things, so I guess I'll look under.
In the near term, it doesn't sound like we have much of a choice in this, but how does that leave us sitting for paying $2,000 in December? And then we're gonna have to do a revised budget for 2018 for that 6,000, or is there enough room in the
I've got the room for that.
police budget?
Yeah.
And outfitting the new patrol car that we just bought.
Yes, sir.
Well, that, broken out the way it is over the 3 years, it's all within city manager approval rating, so we don't need an motion or anything. Right?
I would think so. Just kind of an update for us to know that costs are changing.
So tell me to pay.
How long has this been in progress, this changeover? Was it
Changeover to,
From
at the
global-
county?
Global to Tyler. And this says that.
This
global-
was the first I'd ever heard about the changeover.
Letter says that 18 months of research and testing.
But that was probably all done at the county level, I mean, probably
Our
wasn't.
police chief was instrumental.
Yes.
I just.
The reason for this program, basically what it does, part of it anyway, is that when there's a call to dispatch, it automatically sends a letter to the department that is in the area. Like if you call from Herington, it sends a letter down here that gives the date, the time, what the problem was, and then they use that to go back and do their duties on times, days, all of that.
Paperwork.
Yes. Plus, it gives the records capacity on these individuals. If you're looking for old warrants, new warrants, all of that stuff is on there, or supposed to be.
The chief of police have any concerns, updates, anything on that?
That I don't know, because he didn't bother to tell me about this when he started using it, or working with him a few months ago. Brad said that he was really high on the system because it allowed for accountability of officers, what the calls were, on and on and on. But I will definitely find out from him tomorrow, anything access, you know something?
Yep, Abilene and the county have paid all the maintenance fees since April of 2000. We've never passed any of those expenses to Herington or Chapman. I have
For
his
for
cell phone.
dispatch services, correct. But if you go to paragraph 3, talking about record keeping is what we're talking about.
I'll ask. He's on his phone.
Yeah, it's software, hardware, and maintenance. for the
So
record system.
let me make so I don't ask him too many more questions. What do I need to ask him?
It says, however, the software, hardware, and maintenance for the RMS has been paid by the agencies. If that's been paid, does he know how much?
Okay, software,
Hardware and maintenance for the RMS. Good work, Brad.
One request that I have with all of this, and I think that you kind of are feeling the same way about it, is that we don't get told 2 weeks before a program needs to start and be paid for.
Exactly.
That's the fact that they knew global was going to be done away with 2 years ago, the conversation sort of started 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I do like, you know, how they at least summarized it in case we knew nothing.
His response was yes.
So yes, we've been paying it, so now we're back to,
No, I said including software, hardware, and
Oh.
maintenance.
Oh,
He
okay.
said
They have to
yes.
be all-
okay, so
So
they
his
have paid
original
all of it.
answer, I think, still stands.
Okay,
But I think you make an excellent point, Mary, when we're going through the 2018 budget development, $6,500 is,
Not a ton, but it would have been nice to know about.
right.
Yeah.
We were nitpicking over
We'd
small.
had it prepared for the
Right.
2018 budget, and probably this one.
So do you want a motion to pay it, or are you just gonna take it under the city manager purview to do it?
I can do that.
Yeah.
Either way,
For us.
I can just take it under purview or under,
It sounds like our hands are kind of forced here as it anyways, but what I would like is a breakdown of what their budget looks like after this, after the car, after the
Sure.
changes made to the car, so we know kind of what to expect moving forward, and hopefully there won't be any more surprises.
What page are you on of that list nowadays?
27.
Brenda, did you send the cereal malt beverage license renewals in a different file?
I have not seen
No.
them.
I was just wondering that. Do you guys normally look at them?
Yes.
Yep.
Would you like to go
Yes.
grab them?
We would appreciate it.
I have,
Maybe be helpful.
I have a question for you, ma'am. On when you want this, we do the run tally the 15th of the month. Can you wait till the 15th to get that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's before the
Even-
next
yeah,
meeting.
Even if it could be sent with the next agenda packet, that'd be perfect.
all right.
Yeah, our next
You're
meeting
done.
is not till the 19th. That
Hey,
gives
hey,
time.
Kat,
Yes.
I got a real quick question. Are we still eligible to receive the packet that you guys do, even if we're not a candidate?
Yeah, I think you
Anybody
just have
can do
to
this.
come in and, I don't know if there's
All you
paperwork
gotta
or.
do is ask and
Yeah.
ask to
Well, I-
receive the information.
Yeah, you'll have to give them your email
Sure.
now, because they
I
email
did.
them out, but.
Well, yeah, I've been getting them till this last two. And since the election, I haven't received any,
I'll know
so,
better next time.
Well, now we know that they're paid for.
Well, yeah, it's all there. I can't do it until after it's
Use
passed.
attached.
so Brenda, can you
I
continue?
love it, I love it.
It's a
Honestly.
new food bar.
I was just going to ask her if she could,
I will suggest to do that request in writing,
okay,
just, you know how that works.
all right.
Well, some of them need to be and others don't, they're safe than some.
I gotcha.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do this.
My apologies, but did we do the vote on number 7?
Yes, Dave motioned,
Yeah, and
I
Sarah
seconded, and it was a 4-0.
Okay. I just didn't have the 4-0 down.
Yep,
Want to
we
make
got
sure
it.
we didn't run past it.
Okay, we're doing number 9, consider cereal malt beverage license renewals for consumption on the premises for Pizza Hut, The Spot, and Uncle Bob's Bowling Center. So, there's Uncle Bob's. This is The Spot. And this is Pizza Hut.
And background checks and everything came out okay, I assume.
Applications all filled out correctly. any
Everything's
concerns?
all
Yeah, we don't send it until after the rest of this one is full.
Make a motion, we approve the cereal malt beverage license renewals for consumption on premises for Pizza Hut, The Spot, and Uncle Bob's Bowling Center.
Second.
Sarah can have it.
Discussion. Brenda?
Mr. Nestor?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Stanford?
Aye.
Mayor Susan?
Aye. Alright, number 10, consider cereal malt beverage license renewals for packaged only for Pride, The Spot, and Barnes Food Center.
Everything complete?
That one's still on.
He owns the building. Paul and Becky own the business, he owns the building, so.
Yes, everything looks like it's filled out, complete, and money.
Make a motion, we approve the cereal malt beverage license renewals for packaged only for Pride, The Spot, and Barnes Food Center.
Second. No, I figured I should let her have that one.
She took pity because I was getting ready to make the motion and Dave takes it. That's all right, I'm over here and I mumble.
Commissioner Nestor?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Stanford?
Aye.
Mayor Susan?
Aye.
Alright, did we get the resolution on the?
I don't
I
remember
don't
seeing
remember
that
the
either.
retail sales tax.
It's not in there.
No.
I think we're just a hot mess tonight.
Scratch number 11.
But she's already got a number and everything.
I know, I'm ready for it. We'll have to have it on the next one, because it's gotta be turned into the state by
We can do it in about 5 minutes if we need to. We got the old one.
Let's just do it next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do it next meeting.
Producing documents on the fly is probably
And
not.
I've produced, well, that's, yeah. I don't think-
I'll make a motion that we table number 11 till the December 19th meeting.
Second.
Can I say, nobody wanted to second my motion?
I was still writing.
Me too.
Discussion.
Brenda, Commissioner Hessel,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Stanford.
Aye.
Mayor Sue.
Aye.
Can't use it.
Yeah, I sure did. I finally got one in.
I just wrote cat or Dave. Now I scratched out Dave. Now I know he did it because I heard both. I just use them when I go back through the minutes next time to make sure.
He gets all the scores.
Number 12, discussion on the land bank.
Honestly, I was a little confused when I saw on the agenda. I don't know what we're discussing at this point because I was fairly clear at the last meeting that I'm not willing to talk about this until after the land bank has had the opportunity to discuss that. So I have no input.
It's really, I think it's supposed to be on the 19th meeting, if I remember correctly from last meeting.
So then I make a motion that we table it until the 19th December meeting.
I'll second.
Discussion. Brenda?
Commissioner Hessel,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Stanford.
Aye.
Mayor Sue.
Aye. 12A, discussion regarding non-billed utilities.
What I did, each of you've got a sheet of paper in front of you, going back off the non-billed utilities that Brenda provided us at our last meeting, primarily focusing on Homestead Village and Hilltop. If you look for the month of November, there's $5,620.56 in non-billed utilities just for those two occasions in 1 month. That needs to be addressed, and that's why I keep beating the table on that issue sooner rather than later. If you look at the back of the sheet, I've written down a list of recommendations for the commission to consider. I would like to recommend that we start actively billing both locations as of 1 June. Actually paying their utility bills just like everybody else. Now, there are some things that we have to figure out. For instance, there are not water meters for each one of those apartments. There's 2 meters at Hilltop and there's 2 meters at Homestead. But that's fairly easily rectified. There's also a shared utility meter in the garages for Homestead. There again, fairly easily rectified. Maybe not in 2018, but looking at 2019 budget, if we look at the water meters, capturing that usage under the Homestead and the Hilltop budget as a budgetary expense, how they choose to pass that expense on to their customers, or maybe we direct that, I don't know, but there's ways of mitigating that. The 90% solution, though, that I don't think needs to wait to be implemented is the electric bill. That's $5,600 worth of electricity in 1 month. I think it's optimistic to say that that would be an average for the year, but if you consider that an average for the year, you're talking $70,000 worth of electricity in 1 year. I think we need to start billing that.
I think, and Brenda, correct me on this, isn't our billing concerned around December, January, and February on water and electricity? We pick 3 months.
That's,
what we go by.
that's for the sewer.
Oh, okay.
That's just,
Excuse me.
that, we take the average for the sewer.
Okay.
There's a lot of different ways to solve the issue with water, sewer, trash, and some of that I think is a management decision that we can leave within Ed's purview, but we need to fix the electrical.
Currently, we bill for electric, we would put trash on it. Unless like the housing authority, they are billed, we don't bill trash for that, that's billed, they take care of that, and themselves. And,
My concern with that is how their trash is, I mean, are they just using a couple of big dumpsters? And so maybe there's not an individual trash charge, but there again is something that gets captured in the Homestead to Hilltop budget. And then they, figure it out across however many apartments you've got. If your trash charge is $50 and you get 10 people using it, then it's $5 each per month. Averages out, not maybe down to the penny, but gets you close to budgetary reason.
Another thing you might have to want to consider is the homestead, they have 3 different rates that they charge for, they have a 1-bedroom, they have a small 2-bedroom, and a large 3-bedroom. So one's like $790, one's, don't look at this, 1,000 something, and the other's over this higher than that.
Yeah, they
Whereas
Your
the
club.
Hilltop,
The top one, the large 2 bedrooms, is 1,080.
okay, I thought it was
And the other one
closer
is
to 2,000.
900 and something, the smaller 2 bedroom. And then the 1 bedroom is the 7,
790 or
yeah, I
something
believe
like that.
that's it.
Whereas
780
the
or something.
Hilltop, those are based on
They're based on what?
their income. So you're not comparing apples to apples. It's just something to make sure you're aware of when you're
What I-
deciding this, because their rent is considerably higher.
What I would recommend is that we give Ed a couple of months to figure out what the plan is going to be as far as taking care of the implementation on the water, trash, sewer, all of that kind of stuff. Because there's gonna have to be some research and some number crunching and some figuring out, getting with Lori, and figuring out what the plan is.
Well, and I would recommend a work session at some point in there, so that Ed and the commissioners can have numbers in front of them to start thinking, okay, here's how we're going to handle it, because I don't think it's fair to Ed to say, okay, you figure it out.
Well, I'm not saying Ed figure it out,
Okay.
but come up with a recommendation, bring it back to the commission, so, okay, based upon all of the input, this is what I think we should do. And I would advocate that Lori probably needs to be at that meeting too, so if we have any more questions, we can ask her. And then we'll either say, well, I like that, but I think this needs to be tweaked a little bit, and then we'll take another look at, or we'll pass it. But the electric portion is fairly cut and dry. We know what the meters are, we know who's in that apartment, that's their electric charge. Why aren't we charging? That's just something I think that we can take action on. And there's the other suggestions listed below there as far as the pilot's lounge, swimming pool, hospital landing lights. I mean, I put down recommendations for each of them for our consideration. But on the electrical usage, it's pretty easy. We just need to do it.
And some of these things, like the pilot's lounge,
Yeah, it could be built, I mean, even if it just gets built in the airport budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something, I mean, even if we're not billing them, I have to agree 100%, Dave, that we need to see it in the budget cycle, exactly what's going on, because that's a lot of lost revenue. And we need to account for it at some point.
Yeah.
Now, specifically with the swimming pool, the library, the museum, the teen center, there's some options there, especially looking at the 2019 budget and out. Even if they are not specifically paying their utilities, but we're showing it as city support for something, if we decide to go that way, it still needs to be captured in the
Yeah,
budget.
so that we can say, okay, we're losing this much money on this, but that's really all we're losing. It's not, oh, we're losing this plus, thousands of dollars in utilities.
I don't see it as
Well,
a
it's
loss,
something-
it's
No,
an
but
investment.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not making money off it.
And it is something that comes up every budget cycle I've been here and even before. It's the one question you almost guarantee, how much did we give to all the city-owned businesses and electric? It'd be nice to finally have an answer.
Yeah, a
Sure,
real
for you
number.
guys to give for next year.
City-owned businesses, we have.
Sorry, city-owned properties. Sorry. I think the Hilltop, I mean, it's a revenue generating thing. It's a business.
Yes, DJ, I saw your hand.
Okay, unless something has changed from when I was on the commission, I believe the Hilltop is still basically a section 8 where you can't raise the rent. You figure out what it is and you can't add. and I'm not sure about the homestead, that was going to be paid off before too long. But both of those places, both the Hilltop and Homestead, are advertised, utilities included. City owns it, city's getting the money. Just very simple matter for the city to turn around and take that portion of the utilities, whatever it is, based on the water meter for the whole thing, and pay the bills. I think that's actually a fairly simple solution.
Well, it's not, but I understand your point. And I completely disagree with it, but I do understand your point.
We're not looking at raising anybody's rent. That is the Section 8 portion. Utilities are completely separate.
And honestly, we've never seen any paperwork in 4 years of asking, I've never seen any paperwork stating that that is the case. I've heard it from numerous people, but I've never seen anything in black and white stating it.
Stating
That
what?
it's Section 8, we can't mess with anything, or that it's under a grant and we can't do anything.
Can't charge utilities.
Yeah.
Can't raise
That was
rent,
part of the
yes.
federal grant, the city should have the paperwork on it.
Exactly.
Okay, and I don't know, if you've got a landlord that's got 10 houses in town and renting them out, utilities included, well, he's gonna pay the utilities on each and every one. And
Right, but what you're not understanding, DJ, is if we pay the utility, if the city pays the utilities out of the rent that's collected, you know who's actually paying their utilities? The taxpayers. So you're volunteering to pay their utilities yourself.
well,
Because next year, your taxes will have to go up to pay those utilities.
and I understand where you're going with that.
Actually, your taxes are paying those utilities right now.
Right.
Yeah,
All we're trying to do is
But-
recapture that money for you so that we can
Right.
use it for things that actually support the city.
And if we
I
can't recapture
understood
it, at least be
completely, but it
able to
would
say
be
this is how
correct
much.
bookkeeping. The city's collecting the rent with the utilities included in the rent payment, and they're paying the rent. And the taxpayers, whether you do it like you're doing it now, or whether the city pays into the appropriate fund, the taxpayers are gonna end up paying the same thing.
And if we weren't if I was not advocating for change, then I would absolutely agree with that methodology and that change, that fundamental change to bookkeeping. But I am advocating for change, so I don't really see the point in wasting the time fixing a process we're gonna change.
Okay.
Maybe.
Rick, I saw you had your hand up too.
Yes, my concern is, and we've talked about it before, is that I know for a fact that FRE still gets free electricity also and
They're on the
water.
list.
And, you know, they got 2 different buildings that they're getting free electricity on. And, they're the ones that have the money in their resources to pay their own utility bills. When they got started, I understand they did not, and it was a very good gesture for the city to help them out. But that was supposed to be for 1 year. When that 1 year rolled around, the city never started billing, and they never spoke up and said, we need to pay.
And the recommendation that Commissioner Jones has was to bill them immediately.
I agree
I
100%.
agree with that.
And please realize, this is just kind of a discussion, shooting ideas. They've just handed us this evening. There's nothing being decided. We're not walking, here's some ideas to throw in the ball and start rolling around to see what comes out.
I'm the only one that should be getting the hate mail at this point, because it's just my
Can we
harebrained
send you
ideas.
hate mail?
Sure.
We've got his email address.
I'm sending glitter.
What's your address?
We can hand deliver that mail even. And you can see my Christmas lights when you do.
But I do absolutely agree on all of these points. This kind gestures are no longer kind gestures when they last for several years. So,
Well, and when you're having to pass on money that, okay, these entities are supposed to help or something.
yep.
I guess I'm gonna do for the electrical now.
True.
Do we want to think about it, take public input, talk about it at our next meeting, and then take a vote on a direction, or
I think that would be best. That way we can
Do
put
we
it
wanna
out
do
there.
that on the December 19th meeting, or do we wanna wait till the January 2nd meeting? Just asking what, I mean, both are right there at holiday times. I don't know when would be the best time for citizens to actually be around and able to interact.
My guess is more people would be around December 19th, because as far as if you're gonna have people who have like school-aged kids,
Uh-huh.
they're here. The kids are in
Yeah,
school
that's
still.
right, there won't be. Up to
Whereas the kids
20th.
will not be in school on December 2nd,
That-
or January 2nd, so.
That makes sense.
Good point.
Yeah,
I
I have
would
no
say
problem with the
December.
19th, I just wanted to check with everybody.
So we can put it out that, hey, we are going to be discussing this. Yes, ma'am.
Is that
Virginia,
what's going to be available to everybody?
if you'd like it to be.
Yeah,
I'd like one.
Sure.
that would be beneficial.
Guys, anything that we see up here, if we talk about it, if we are actively discussing it, you are free to request a copy. We can either email it to you, we can have a copy of it made afterwards. Unless it is completely confidential, which, A, we're not gonna have that sitting on top of our desks right here.
And we're not gonna be discussing
No, we're not gonna
it.
be discussing it. Everything that we do, everything we talk about, this is public knowledge. You can request anything, and we'll give you what we have. And if you ask for something that we don't have that is also public record, if the city can't provide it for you, one of us can request it, and we always can.
Okay, thank you.
Just make copies of that.
Yeah, I'll do it, that's good to have.
All right, anything else on this?
Thank you. How long for executive session?
I'm thinking we can be done 20 to 30 minutes tops. I'm hoping
That
for
was
20.
So 25. I like 30. I like 30.
Yeah, if we go 30, maybe we won't have to come back up and do it again.
All right.
There's no reason to take the stairs.
Who all do we need?
Commission, city attorney, ability to call city manager.
Okay. Make a motion, we go into executive session for non-elected personnel under KSA 75, Tax 4319, B1, protect the rights of the individual being discussed. Open meeting to resume at 7:19 to include the city commission, city attorney with the ability to call the city manager.
Second.
Discussion? Brenda?
Ashley?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.